All right, YouTube. I've been asked by a few people to make this video. I did this video once already, but I messed up the audio. The in-game audio was too loud, and then when I would speak, the in-game audio would basically drown me out. So there were a lot of things people couldn't hear. So I want to remake it. This time, I believe I turned the game audio really, really low, so it shouldn't interfere. But so this is going to be a controller smoothness settings video for Battlefield 6 because one of the main complaints from controller players, especially coming over from other games like Call of Duty, they say controller feels janky. Like when they first boot up Battlefield 6, it lacks smoothness. Even when they come in here and um they're setting up different ratios and different sensitivities, the different input curves, and they're still saying that it feels janky. It doesn't feel smooth. And this is one of the things that's turning people off from even playing Battlefield, right? So I wanted to specifically focus on three settings for this video. Aim assist slowdown right here, the left-right acceleration, and most importantly, the main topic of this video, which is going to be the controller tuning axial dead zones for the left and right stick. All right, so let's start with axial dead zone. What is it? If you've never played Battlefield before, or you've never played Halo, you've probably never seen this setting, axial dead zone. In Battlefield 6, when you first start the game, I'm pretty sure axial dead zone is defaulted to 8. Center dead zone, I think, is 2, and axial dead zone is set to 8. So what axial dead zone is, I will show you in a graph, which would make more sense. Axial dead zone is exactly what it says. Axial. It is the axis. It is the X and Y axis. So straight up and down, left and right. So right now, according to this graph, this is the axial dead zone set to 8. So you can see how wide that blue line is. So what this means is your thumbstick, when you're moving inside this blue line, let's say you're moving forward. If you move slightly to the right, as long as you're still within this blue line, your controller is not going to register these movements. That's why it's called a dead zone. Everything in here is considered dead. It doesn't register. So you can imagine if this is set to 8 and you're trying to play an FPS game, it's going to feel janky, specifically if you come from a game that doesn't use axial dead zone. Call of Duty, for example, by default in Call of Duty, this is set to 0. So there is no axial dead zone. In Call of Duty, what they use is center dead zone, which is this, which most of us know about. If you have stick drift on your controller, you would increase the center dead zone until the stick drift stops, right? Well, games like Halo and Battlefield, they like to give people more control, and so they add axial dead zone. And as you can see, they kind of work together. If you increase your center dead zone and you also increase your axial dead zone, your center dead zone also increases. So you can imagine why you're getting on this game for the first time and your controllers feel janky, like they're not responsive, right? Because everything inside this red and everything inside these blue lines, these are dead zones. Nothing is being registered in here. So that means you have to move your joystick further out into the green areas before the game will recognize your input. So what I've been telling people, the solution I found, if you don't feel that smoothness, lower the axial dead zone. I've been telling people to do 1 or 2. You could do 0 if you want, but just a heads up, if all your dead zones are set to 0, as you can see, there's nothing on the screen, it's going to feel smoother, but it's also going to give you the perception of speed. So your every minor thumbstick input will get registered and everything is going to feel faster. So I've been telling people, do like 1 or 2. This, you won't notice this, but it's just enough to keep everything feeling smooth and not overly sped up. right? And obviously your center dead zone, that's going to depend on your controller. If you have stick drift, which is when you don't touch your controller, if you see your character moving like to the right or to the left or up or down, then increase your center dead zone until your character stops moving. So in the game, that would be here, center dead zone, right? You want to, if you don't have any stick drift, then I would just say put this down to 0. If you have stick drift, just start going up one by one until you see your character stop moving. Now for axial dead zone, put it down to 2. 1 or 2, whatever your preference is. You're not gonna feel the difference between 1 and 2. I set mine to 2. I configured my controller for this game, even though I'm a mouse and keyboard player. But since I play both inputs, I always configure my controller for every game I get on. So axial dead zone, this is the first step that's going to make your game feel smoother and get rid of that jankiness if that's what you're feeling. Now, another thing that people are complaining about is they feel like when they're aiming, it feels clunky or like they're being slowed down too much, almost like the aim assist bubble. Well, that's what aim assist slowdown is. By default, when you start the game, I believe this is on 100. And this basically means that when you aim near a target, it slows you down a lot. Like, look, you see as I come across, see how it slows down? So now imagine if I'm playing at 100 aim assist slowdown and there's multiple characters near each other and they're running. The slowdown is going to make it hard for you to pick one of these two targets because it's going to try to target both at the same time. And then when you go try to shoot one, you might miss them both because of the aim assist slowdown. And this also has to do with the smoothness. When you're trying to snap on someone, it's slowing you down too much. So that setting is another setting that I've been telling people, okay, bring this down. This is going to be desired preference, by the way. There's no right setting here, but I would say start at like 70 and then work from there. If you feel like it's still slowing you down too much, bring it lower. If you feel that it's not slowing you down enough now and you're overshooting your target, then bring it up. But pick a number somewhere between, let's say somewhere between 60 and 80. Try out different values, and then you'll be able to see how much less slowdown you get, and it's gonna feel smoother when you're shooting targets. And now the last setting I want to talk about is the left-right acceleration. Okay, so first of all, if this setting is grayed out for you and you can't change this, there is a workaround. This is a known bug with the game. The developers have been made aware that some people have this setting grayed out and you can't change it. Even if you change the presets here, yours is going to be grayed out. The workaround is you have to go into each controller setting. You see how here on the right it says reset? You got to reset your controller settings, your buttons, your control, and your infantry control mapping. You have to reset all of them, and then this will be available to you. Now, yes, that means you're gonna have to reconfigure all your sensitivities, all your keybinds. I know it's a pain, but that's the only workaround right now if you have this grayed out. So once you get this working, the aim right acceleration, basically the lower you put it, the more snappy your game will feel, like when you're moving left to right, basically. The more snappy this will feel. If it's too fast, if it's too snappy for you, then what you do is you turn it up. And by default, like I said, depending on which preset you pick, it's gonna give you, look at some presets give you 100, other gives you 50. Depending on which preset you pick, you can still come in here and change this. And then just, again, this is gonna be a preference thing, how snappy you want it. Like I said, a lower number is faster, a higher number is slower. So mess around, see what's comfortable for you, and then just kind of pick from there. And then that's basically it. So those are the 3 settings that should make your game feel smoother. Whether you're just a Battlefield player, whether you're coming from Call of Duty, whether this is your first FPS, you know, these are the settings that are going to make your controller feel more accurate, smoother. It's going to help you control recoil better because you're not going to get the jankiness in your dead zones. And that's about it. Hopefully this helps. I know several people have told me that this helped them. I know it helped me. Like I said, even though I play on M and K, I do always test controller on all these games just in case, you know, if somebody wants to do crossplay off. And that should be it, really. If you have any other questions, anything else you're curious about, leave it in the comments and I will respond to everyone.